The traditional three-legged stool of retirement, Social Security, pensions, and personal savings, has evolved. With longer lifespans and market volatility, retirees must diversify income sources to ensure stability. Asset allocation balances growth, stability, and income. Stocks provide long-term appreciation, while bonds offer steady returns. Real estate and REITs generate passive income, and annuities can provide guaranteed payments. Alternative investments can further diversify risk. Risk management is key. Gradually shifting asset allocation, diversifying within asset classes, and incorporating insurance products help protect against downturns and unexpected expenses. A diversified retirement plan includes growth investments to combat inflation, stable assets for security, and multiple income streams. Regular reviews ensure alignment with evolving financial needs. Combining traditional and modern approaches strengthens financial resilience, offering peace of mind throughout retirement.
Jamie, let me open with a broad question. What key principles should advisors and clients follow when designing a diversified retirement income plan?
Well, yeah, that one's not broad, so that's good. It's just super specific. And look, there's a lot of different ways you can go here. I'll lay some stuff that hopefully we can build off of as we go. I do think the little video talked about the three-legged stool. I think for more and more Americans, I kind of use this analogy this year. Like we've more ended up on a retirement pogo stick for a lot of people. You've got investments that are bouncing up and down, and that's what a lot of people are looking at. It's not entirely that way, but it's more that way than ever before. That our personal savings is really the driver moving forward in this country of retirement security. So the shift there is occurring. And what that requires is to take on more of an onus at the individual and advisor level to solve this problem, right? This problem was initially kind of tackled by companies and the government, and that is shifting to states. It's shifting down to individuals. It's shifting away from the employer onto us. And that requires technology and advisors to step up and for people to build their own pensions and Social Security supplements where those aren't going to come anymore from kind of employers and government in the next future, right? Like those are falling behind on that pace scale. So I think that's the big like macro change that's occurring out there when you just look at the data and the way things are moving. And then that opens up a whole world of opportunities at the same time, though.
Well said. I love the analogy. Dana, what are your thoughts? Are we all jumping up and down on this pogo stick? And what are your views?
Yeah, in a lot of ways we are. And as you know from my comment, I took issue with the title of this today's episode of maximizing returns for peace of mind, because we measure by that pogo stick. I love that analogy, Jamie. And when the pogo stick's bouncing up, oftentimes we feel like, yeah, I can retire. Or if I'm already retired, yeah, I'll be fine. And when the pogo stick bounces down, we can tend to feel like, oh my gosh, am I going to be okay? Am I going to run out of money? Am I going to have to go back to work? And really, a good retirement plan shouldn't be tied to where that pogo stick is on its trajectory. And so, when I think of a good retirement income plan, it's one that focuses on stability of cash flows over time. And we're not taught to measure that way. We measure by our account balances or our net worth, and we want to see those steadily going up. And in retirement, that's not the right metric. There are different ways to measure how much cash flow we'll have, if it can keep pace with inflation, and how long it's expected to last. And I think we really have to shift to teaching people to look at it differently when they enter that phase.
Dana, to what extent do you turn to annuities?
I think annuities can be a valuable piece of a retirement income plan when they are put in place as part of a well thought out plan. They do something different than any other piece of your portfolio other than perhaps Social Security. So when you think of longevity risk, one of the risks we face in retirement is this unknown time horizon. Oftentimes, the way that the markets are reported on, and almost like a sports game, makes us think in terms of maximizing returns or finding the latest hot stock or, growing our portfolio. But you can make decisions for different reasons. And delaying Social Security or buying an annuity, the reason you might do that is to protect a unique risk in retirement that none of your other investment decisions can protect. And that's the risk of having income as long as you live.
Okay, so interesting. Maybe we need to redefine the game that we're playing. It's not all about watching TV and figuring out, how do I get more touchdowns in my investment portfolio? Kerry, you've written a lot about career transitions in midlife. How does continued work or entrepreneurship fit into a diversified retirement income plan?
I am so glad you asked that, because, I mean, when you were talking at the top about the three-legged stool, I mean, there is a fourth, and that's work and working longer. I think that in today's retirement, it's not what it used to be. I think particularly with longevity, I mean, the idea of stepping away from work at 65, when you potentially have 3 decades to support your living costs without an income stream from work, I think it's something most Americans need to really pay attention to. How can they continue to work longer? And by doing so, what I think is so critical is, yes, you can keep contributing to those retirement accounts. You don't have to pull funds out of those accounts for living expenses. And as Dana just said, oh my gosh, you can push back, delay that Social Security benefit until age 70, where you're going to get the biggest pop, as it bumps up 8% each year from your full retirement age. And so it's a dramatic way to give yourself some security in retirement if you can stay working longer. And I just think we're going to see more of that as we move forward. And then, in order to work, you need to continue to add value to yourself. So investing in yourself and your skills and that sort of thing, and your talents, where you're going to continue to work, that's going to really involve some thinking ahead.
Roger, I'm sure you have a lot to say. I'm kind of curious what frameworks you use to balance some of these issues, like the need for a reliable income with a desire for financial freedom.
That is exactly where I think we need to go as practitioners, because the answer of how to build a diversified retirement income plan is actually very simple. It depends. And that's the answer to almost every question that we get up for the show or that a client has. And the reason that it depends is that this is not a macro homogeneous issue. At the end of the day, one person is facing one retirement journey, and they have their own set of financial circumstances, health circumstances, and preferences that they're trying to solve for. And so frameworks, I think, are really the key in thinking through building a retirement income plan. And it should start with what you want your life to be. That's your vision. And then counting the resources you have, human capital or social capital of Social Security and pensions and annuities, and your financial capital, to see if it's actually feasible. And then your income plan is going to be developed by making it resilient, which is where the real down and dirty work goes. And it's the part that we actually do the least of, I think, in our industry, because it's not specific enough to the individual of exactly how it's going to happen. But I think that framework in that order will help you get to the one that is the right match for you. And that might include annuities. It might not. It might include work. It might not.
I want to circle back to Jamie, since he can wear a legal hat, he can wear his advisor hat. How do you recommend clients weigh guaranteed income products like annuities against market-based investments?
Yeah, it's a good way to phrase it. So it's funny because when Roger mentions, right, it's not this homogeneous, massive thing, but I always think in both parts, right? Like, I was an attorney by trade, so I think about policy and big picture too. At the same time, though, you always get down to this individual level. What I think when I look at the annuity and fixed income and guaranteed income world, though, I always think there's a disservice done when we just say annuities, because honestly, like, it's one of the challenges, like, no two annuities look alike. And whether we're talking about a fixed annuity or a variable annuity, then how the annuity is being used. And that's typically the area you have to get to with a client when they come in and say, we have an annuity. Well, what is the purpose of that asset for your retirement? I'm a big fan of starting a lot of times we're dealing with people who have already accumulated different assets or income sources, and then you're trying to piece them together, figure out if there's better things to get. So they have a 401k and investments, you're trying to figure out, is that the right mix of products and services and strategies, or do we need to move some of that around? So you always kind of start with some bucket of things. And I do think putting a purpose to them is really important. So is that annuity for lifetime income, like Dana talked about? However, if you look at the annuity world, it's not the number one use of annuities. It's like, we talk about that a lot, but just fundamentally, that's actually a really small percentage of the annuity world. Most people use annuities more as like a CD or bond diversifier, so that they'll have, swapping out bonds or CDs for 2 to 3 years of fixed income. That's the driver right now in the annuity world. The second big driver is actually to have kind of some downside protection, the RILA space, so these indexed annuities with like an S&P, so they're kind of trading off some top end for some bottom protection. Those are the two really big drivers actually in the annuity space right now. So the purpose of those is different than lifetime income. We're not seeing, and have never seen, that full turnover to lifetime income that academics and annuity providers, life insurance companies, expected to see. So when you look at that, you got to get down to, what is the purpose? How are they going to use these products? How does it fit into the plan?
Thank you for that context. Let's go to segment 2.